-1-52771CA. The court's been asked to approve the sale of a piece of real estate. We'd like to have the appearances of our participating parties, beginning with our Zoom participant, Mr. Gross.
Thank you, Your Honor. William Gross here on behalf of conservator Rob Wilnow, who is in the courtroom.
Michael McFarland, attorney, guardian ad litem.
Robert Wilnow, conservator of Mary Wilnow.
And Mary Wilnow.
Welcome. All right, Mr. Gross, this is your petition. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wilnow was appointed conservator for his mother, Mary Jean, earlier this year. This time, Mary Jean is the owner of a property that we're seeking to sell and hoping to use the proceeds to pay for Miss Wilnow's care, as well as some of her expenses and debts. She's, I think they're planning to transition her to home care, and some of the funds we're hoping to be used to help with that transition and to make sure she's comfortable at home, as well as to pay for some of her costs associated with her residential care.
All right, I see some of your supporting documents seem to indicate that potentially the SEV value, when it was doubled, could potentially exceed what your sale price is on this. Have you secured a market analysis or any other support for the amount that you anticipate to sell this property for?
I believe my client may be able to provide a good explanation for how they arrived at this sale price. I do believe it was the best price available given the market, and I believe there's some unique features to this property that led to this price. Rob, would you be able to share anything with the court on that question?
Sure.
One moment, please. Before you start, Deputy Ames will ask you to swear him in.
You can remain seated, but raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
So the property is in the house itself is in really bad shape. Black mold, floor joists are actually rotting out of the house. It's really not livable conditions right now.
Right. Did you have the assistance of a real estate agent or anyone else when you decided that you needed to sell it?
So we used Buy Homes 360 because at the time we were looking to sell as quick as we could to get money for this care, and they were actually the quickest ones. A realtor was going to take way too long for us.
Additional questions, Mr. Gross?
Mr. Wilnow, who did you work with again for the sale of this?
We Buy Homes 360. Yeah, 365.
Okay. And how long was the house on the market?
With them, it's been since August. since August.
Okay. So it's been out there with an opportunity to receive other offers. Right. This is the best offer that you received.
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Sir, you would agree the state equalized value is $61,400, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I do have another question, and that is, I see let me scroll down here. Indulge me just a moment. There's quite a lot of documents that are attached. I see there is a commission for Good Neighbor. Well, actually, Good Neighbor Solution LLC. They are the listing agent, right?
Yes.
Okay. and they're to receive a consulting fee of $15,000 as a result of the sale on this?
So that would include the closing costs and everything associated with selling a house.
Well, there's also less a buyer's commission. There's already a buyer's commission of $2,282, right?
Yes,
Okay, and then there's also another fee of $207 to list with Freedom, right?
correct.
And then there's also in parentheses 0.0025. You have a copy of the addendum, explanation addendum that's attached?
I don't believe.
It says at closing, LLC is to receive a consulting fee of $15,000, less $2,282.50 buyer's commission, less $207.50 to list with Freedom, and then in parentheses 0.0025. Is that 0.0025% of the total sale price? I'm speculating.
I would believe that would have to be correct.
Also less seller's cost. Okay. How much of a fee would a regular realtor charge?
I cannot answer that. I don't have that information.
And do you know if this property was listed through just this real estate company, or whether it was a multi-listing with other realtors had access to this?
So, this company here is actually the company that lists it. So it sounds like that is nationwide that they list it.
But you don't know.
Correct.
Okay. And I heard you say you do not have a market analysis, which means you don't have somebody that's come in, take a look at the house and said, this is how much it would take to put in, and this is what the comps are with other properties that are similar to this, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further. I do have reserved comments, so Your Honor.
Did you sign any kind of listing agreement?
Yes.
Any more questions, Mr. Gross?
Well, Rob, you spoke a little bit to the condition of the property, and that's one of the underlying reasons why this sale price falls below what maybe the state's equalized value would expect it to be.
Exactly. We did not feel good even in there cleaning the house out.
Mm-hmm. So before it's habitable, the buyer would need to put some significant money into it just to make it habitable at this point.
Serious. It has a crawl space and it is wet underneath the crawl space. So the complete underneath the house is rotted.
Yeah. And then Rob, you also spoke a little bit about wanting to have this sale taken care of sooner than later, that there was some urgency here in order to provide for your mother's care. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And can you maybe expand on why you guys wanted to sell sooner than later?
So we would like to bring Mom into our house. As now her income compared to what she owes monthly at Lenawee Medical far exceeds her income. So this would subsidize what she's lacking that way.
Sure. And I understand that the purchase agreement was signed in October, and the purchaser has agreed to wait until obviously the court's ruling here today, right?
Yes.
And they agreed to sign an extension in that regard.
Yes.
Okay. So hoping to have authority today so that that purchase agreement can go forward.
That is correct.
Okay. That's all my questions at this time.
Just have a couple follow-ups, Mr. Honor.
Yes, me too. Go ahead.
Thank you. Are you aware that the purchaser Mark L. Johnson Trust is a trust that buys up properties, fixes them up and resells them?
Yes,
Okay, so it's not gonna be a house that's gonna be demolished, it's gonna be repaired.
it could, and it's gonna far exceed what they need to put into it.
And we don't know what the value of just the plain property is without a house on it either, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, what's your mother's cost right now at Lonely Medical per month?
Per month it was $44.20.
$4,420?
Yes,
And how much would you charge her at your house?
I would not charge her anything
Okay, so there's
other
no,
than her medical needs that she would need daily.
so there's no urgency in the sale. We could wait to have a market analysis as she'll be moving into your house and there won't be the $4,400 in cost, correct?
Well, she will be out of money for Lenway Medical.
Well, I thought you said you were moving, maybe I'm confused. Your intention is you want to move her into your house, correct?
Correct.
And when are you anticipating that move?
It would have to be after the sale of the house.
And why is
because
that?
well, we need to get medical equipment, we need a ramp, we need a hydraulic lift, and we have to line medical care.
Okay, and she has no funds right now for Lonely Medical?
She has right now enough to make, there's 2 months worth of payments, and that's all she has.
Okay, the money that she has coming in comes from, what's the source of her funding?
Pension, Social Security, and Medicaid,
Approximately how much is that a month?
$3,700.
You say it's 44, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's
And-
where our.
And how
our
much is in her
scrambling-
savings right now?
What's that?
How much is in her savings right now?
Right now should be $6,000.
Well, 3,744 is how much, so $6,000 would go for quite a few months to make up that difference, right?
Yes, but she also has prosthetic that she owes $1,800 on, so, I mean, so this doesn't include her insurance that she has to pay monthly and her co-pays.
Okay, so what's the total amount that she has to pay monthly, the total amount?
Total amount, with the, Lenawee Medical and insurance is right in the ballpark of 5,000.
Okay. So the money that we have saved, would that be enough to at least start a ramp and get some things around in the house for her to live?
If we don't want to pay Lenawee Medical, I mean,
Well, if the
and
intent-
that's what got us here in the first part.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess if you had that done, your intention is to have her move into your house, right?
yes,
And not to have her live long-term at Lonely Medical.
correct.
So if you took her some money and had a ramp built, she could move in as soon as possible to your house, right?
But that's gonna delinquent us back even further in Lenawee Medical.
Well, now she's not living at Lonely Medical. Have you had an estimate, a quote done for your ramp?
No,
Have you had a quote done for anything else, having your house brought up so your mother could live there?
so it roughly 5,000 for hospital bed, widening 2 doorways. And for the ramp, ballpark is probably $6,000.
But that's not close, that's just, how did you get those figures?
Just looking online.
Okay, nothing for you, Your Honor.
So do we know what the closing costs are?
I honestly, Your Honor, I do not have those papers with me. Oh, the buyer is doing all closing costs.
Well, it indicates in the addendum to the purchase agreement that the 15,000 is supposed to cover those closing costs.
Correct.
So that's going to Good Neighbor Solutions LLC.
Yes.
That's not the buyer though, right?
So that is who is selling the house. So the money from the buyer is paying these people.
On top of the 15,000?
No.
Okay.
That's coming out of their 15,000 that they're paying them.
So you are paying it, the buyer's not paying. So you're paying the buyer agent commission, the closing costs, a listing fee. I also see in the petition that there's an amount of unpaid debts and taxes of $72,156.75. That would be more than you would actually net from this sale. Are you counting on the sale of this property to generate any funds whatsoever as a result of the sale?
For the funds would go partially to Lenawee Medical to pay off some of their funds, which is
Well, my
70.
question is what, oh, is that's part of the 72,000?
Yeah, that's what 72,000 is. To partially pay them off, then also to get us set up so we can have her moved into the house.
And we have had discussions with Lenawee Medical regarding that.
What is the amount owed to Lenawee Medical at this time?
73,000.
73,000.
$7,300? $73,000?
Yes. This was before we took over.
Yeah,
conservatorship.
that debt is largely the reason why the conservatorship is in place here. And as a
We're just trying to get everything where it needs to be.
Well, a 73,000 is more than you are gonna net on this purchase.
I totally agree. I mean, there's no way that property is gonna go over that amount.
No, what I mean is, if the sale price is 83,000 and they're taking 15,000 off the top,
Mhm.
that's already leaving you with less than, and then you've got a mortgage on it, right?
Right, so it leaves
So-
23,000.
If you're selling it for 83 and then you take 15 off the top, you're already at 70,000, right? Then you take off approximately 44,000 for the mortgage, and you're down to 30, and you already owe Lenawee Medical $73,000. What part of that are you gonna even receive?
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
that is not tied to the property or it's not secured by the property. So we've been working with the attorneys representing Lenawee Medical to arrange, to facilitate a plan to pay down that debt. Now, some of the proceeds of this sale we're planning to use for that, and some we're planning to use to transition to home care. That's what we've discussed with the attorneys for Lenawee Medical. They're aware of that plan, and that's that's what the plan is here to use for the proceeds from the sale.
Just one question, if I might. Do you have a copy of what has been done to earn the consultation fee? Do you have a list of the consulting and the hours and everything he's done to get the 15,000?
No, I don't.
Okay,
So, Your Honor, at this point, it's either we sell the house or it gets foreclosed on and nobody will get the money. It's 6 months behind right now. And
The payments, the
Yeah.
mortgage payments are 6 months behind?
yes. So with all her money going to Lenawee Medical right now, I mean, it's either, that's the reason we did this, try to get this sold as quick as possible. So at least there'll be some money going to them, because at this point, it'll go into foreclosure and nobody will get anything out of it.
lastly, have you considered a Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing for your mother?
We discussed.
It's definitely been talked about.
Consulted with a bankruptcy attorney?
kind of sort of.
Okay, fine, okay, I guess.
It's been
Yeah,
discussed.
it's in the talk. It
Okay.
really is.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just add, or I know I mentioned it before, Mr. Will now came into this situation, I believe, in August, and at that time, you know, a lot of these debts had been accrued. The power of attorney for Miss Will now had not been carrying out their responsibilities, leading to you know, kind of a lot of the circumstances that Rob here inherited, and so he's just trying to make the best of a tricky situation. And you know, this is an asset that can be used to help, you know, provide for Miss Wilnow's care. And like he said, it's one that may have some greater issues down the road if we're not able to sell it here.
What do you think, Mr. McFarland?
Well, Your Honor, we had a case like this just this morning. A similar situation. I am not a real estate agent. I am not an inspector. I am not a market analysis. And I think we really need to have that done if we're trying to generate the maximum. I would like to see that this is indeed the maximum. I realize the conservator's testimony, but he's a layperson. He's not an expert in the field. In addition, I would like to see a breakdown of the consulting fee of $15,000. What's being done to earn $15,000? Typically, the court requires a breakdown, just as attorney fees or any other services. The time involved and the amount involved, not just a flat fee of $15,000. I am familiar. I recognize the name of the purchaser, and he's going to be purchasing it to rehab. So I'm not sure that this is the correct amount. Your Honor, I have nothing to rely on, really.
Mr. Gross, have you looked at the listing agreement? Is there, frankly, any? Okay, so for example, if we kick this out a couple of weeks and we asked you and your client to get even just a market analysis from a local real estate agent, does it do any good considering the fact that he signed this agreement? In other words, is this something that we can even change at this point?
Well, yeah, there is a signed purchase agreement at this point. Mr. Wilnow did sign as conservator for Mary. So unless I don't know, some intervening cause made it so that the sale wasn't possible, we do have some level of obligation there.
I think it's always subject to court approval.
Well, I'm more concerned about the listing agreement itself.
Oh, the listing agreement.
Yes, in other words, did he sign on to this consulting fee and this process for a certain period of time, similarly to some, you know, other real estate listing agreements where you're bound to use this particular agent? And of course, hopefully that would outline their obligations as well, where they may have listed the house. But the long and the short of it is, for example, if he signed it in August and he's bound by that for the next 6 months, does it even matter if we ask somebody for a second opinion? Have you looked at that?
I don't have a listing agreement in front of me. My client might be able to shed any light if there is one.
Any idea? Do you have a copy of the listing agreement somewhere? Not with you necessarily?
Probably at home, isn't it?
No?
Yeah, not with us.
Okay, all right. Well. How long would it take you to be able to provide a copy of that listing agreement, and anything else that you have that would help us understand the breakdown of that 15,000 and some of the other supporting documents that we've talked about here today? I mean, I need you to get a copy to Mr. McFarland, obviously to your attorney, Mr. Gross, and to the court for me to review as well.
Okay. Should be able to get it fairly quick.
Very well. Justin.
Okay.
As soon as sorry, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to contact them and verify that we can get a copy of that.
I know Mr. Gross will shoot that over to me right away, Your Honor, so.
Oh, yeah.
Just provide one individual, so make it easy.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as we have it, we'd be able to get it to the court.
Very good. So if I give you like a week or so, and you could reappear next week by Zoom if you wanted to in the morning, you don't have to necessarily come back in. I appreciate many of the questions that you've answered for us today. And I'm hoping that, you know, if I can ask you to wait another week to determine whether or not we can approve this and have a look at some of those other documents to see if we can answer some of those questions, if that would be something that you think we could do.
Just to that point, I think Rob mentioned to me the extension on the current purchase agreement runs to the 20th of this month. Is that right, Rob?
Yes.
Is there any way we'd be able to see Your Honor before then?
Oh. I mean, I can try for Monday. We can try to fit you in. It looks like I've got an evidentiary hearing set. But I'm not sure, frankly, if it's gonna go or not.
I suspect ours would hopefully be a relatively short conference.
Yes, so what about 11:30 Monday? If we're in the middle of hearing, then I can at least maybe break a little bit early before lunch and reconvene on this one. But that's
11:30. That works
you
for me.
basically have to provide those documents within the next couple of days over the weekend. Is that feasible?
It should be.
And if not, you can let us know and we can try to work with Mr. Gross and Mr. McFarland to find a different time.
Yes. Yeah, we'll certainly do everything we can to get those to the court ASAP so that you have a chance to review before Monday at 11:30.
All right, more importantly, I think Mr. McFarland also needs to look at that. And then
Absolutely.
if possible, to contact a real estate agent to just see if they can do a market analysis for you and have a look at it would be ideal. So if you wouldn't mind at least making a phone call to see if you can convince somebody to do that for you, that'd be great. Or even your listing agency, if they listed it somewhere, should have done that at some point in order to figure out what to even list it at.
Yeah, because I know they came in and took pictures and everything else to market it, so.
All right, so start with this. Find for us, if you can, any market analysis that they did, and of course, your listing agreement. They should have, in addition to that market analysis, like when you post a piece of real estate online, right, there's a bunch of information about it. So maybe whatever they posted could be useful as well.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, Mr. Gross, I think you have a good idea of what we're asking for as well. Any questions?
I've got listing agreement, any sort of explanation or breakdown of the seller's costs or their payment basically, and see if we can acquire a market analysis, something that would reflect why the home was sold for that amount.
Listing contract?
Yeah.
That listing contract specifically from whatever agency listed it.
Yeah.
And they may have done a market analysis, I would hope, in order to list it.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I would hope so too.
Great,
We'll get everything we can get our hands on.
appreciate it. Okay, we'll talk with you again on Monday. Thank you for coming in. Again, if you need to utilize Zoom, please feel free to do that. I appreciate you coming.